Hello! It's October, and Halloween is drawing near in America. People start decorating houses with pumpkins and witching attributes. The Peterson family wakes up and prepares for a new day. They don't yet know that a mysterious man in army boots is running towards their house. The father, Spencer, takes his son Luke to school and kisses his wife Laura goodbye. The atmosphere in the family is quite gloomy. Their eldest son served in the army and died in Afghanistan not so long ago. Laura tearfully thinks of Caleb when suddenly she hears the doorbell ringing. A young stranger is standing behind the door.
My name is David. Mrs. Peterson, I knew your son, Caleb.
He says that he and Caleb served together and became best friends. Laura hears her son's name and immediately invites David inside. He tells her that he came by bus and ran from the bus stop as a training exercise. The man was wounded and discharged, after which he came straight to the Petersons' house. He has no one else. His friendship with Caleb really meant a lot to him. The guy asked David to visit his family and tell them how much he loved them. These words shock and touch Laura. It's as if her son is speaking to her from the afterlife. Tears stream down her cheeks, and the woman goes to the restroom. There, she gives vent to her emotions and cries. When Laura returns, she sees the guest next to the photographs of Caleb. In one of them, he and David are actually embracing each other. The man apologizes for not warning about his visit and for causing the woman emotional distress, but Laura stops the polite young man. She asks him to stay longer, under the pretext of getting acquainted with Anna, Caleb's sister. The girl works in the evenings and hasn't woken up yet. In addition, Laura wants to hear more about her son's military service. In the middle of another funny story from the barracks, Anna comes out of her room. The girl, dressed in a waitress uniform, asks her brother's friend where he's staying. David replies that he spotted a motel by the highway, but Laura again convinces him to stay at their house, in Caleb's room. Anna rolls her eyes. After all, he's just a stranger, not her son coming back from the grave. David humbly agrees to stay there for a night, after which the girl goes to work. Laura ushers the guest into his room, still filled with Caleb's childhood belongings. She leaves, and David sits down on the bed. He stares off into emptiness, and a cold expression lingers on his face. A few hours pass and classes finish at school. Luke is walking down the hallway when he's noticed by a group of noisy teenagers. A high school student abruptly grabs the boy and smashes his face into a locker. They continue bullying Luke and no one comes to the defense of the quiet student. Apparently, he doesn't have any friends. He hides his tears and bruises under the hood and gets in the car with his mother. Luke lies that he's doing great, and his mom has no second thoughts about it. They return home where David meets Luke and passes on Caleb's last words to him. Spencer comes home from work as well. He's not thrilled to see the stranger.
Called some of these guys come back with mental health problems, Laura. Did you take that into account?
What if Caleb had come back different?
The guest notices the teenager's black eye and asks who hit him. Used to hiding his problems, Luke lies that it happened in gym class. Spencer then offers David a beer and sends Luke to his room to do his homework. Meanwhile, Anna is out with her boyfriend Zeke. She tells him about David. The guest looks nice, but the girl thinks he's a little strange. Anna thought that after Caleb's death, her parents would move out of this town, but in the end, they decided to stay. She considers this a bad decision. Now the family is always absorbed in painful memories. The girl leaves, promising Zeke to spend more time with them tomorrow at the party. When Anna returns home, David is helping Luke with his homework. Afterward, Spencer stays alone with the guest and complains to him about his job. A young colleague was unfairly given the promotion that the man was counting on. Because of this, Laura too was very upset, and Spencer would like to look better in her eyes. David, on the other hand, is about to leave for Florida to look for a job on some construction site. Spencer convinces him to stay here for a couple more days so he doesn't have to rush off into the unknown. The man gets tired and goes to sleep, marveling at his guest's ability to stay so energetic. In response, the guy says he's used to getting little sleep on duty. The next day, it's David who picks Luke up from school. The teenager is surprised and again lies that everything is fine, and he has lots of friends. However, most of them are from the internet. David sees through the boy's lies and asks him to show him the kids who are bullying him. He assures him that he won't do anything special, and Luke points at the group of bullies. He singles out two guys in particular, Mike and Ian, who are getting into a car. David is pleased and gets on their tail. Luke explains that they're always hanging out at a bar with the rest of the football team.
Well, I could use a drink. How about you?
No.
Luke is scared out of his mind of what might happen and wants to stay in the car. But when David boldly walks into the bar, the guy joins him. The soldier orders a drink for himself and also asks to bring a bunch of girly cocktails to the football players and their girlfriends at the next table. The bartender realizes that a conflict is brewing, but David gives him a good tip. When their order arrives, the older guy lets Luke try it. Soon Mike and Ian approach them and return the insult by splashing the cocktail in David's face. The man responds in kind, making the eyes of one of the bullies burn and punching the other. As the girls run away screaming, David starts throwing school kids around. Luke gets punched in the face again and falls. The soldier helps the guy by smashing a pool cue against the attacker. David helps Luke up from the ground and advises the bartender not to snitch on them. Instead, it's better to tell the police that the kids refused to show their IDs and started the fight themselves. If the truth is revealed, the bar will have its license revoked for selling alcohol to minors. David then leaves more cash for the broken furniture and leaves. They arrive home where Laura worries about Luke's broken nose. David calms the woman down and says that he'll teach the boy self-defense. This puts a stop to any further questioning. Anna is getting ready to go to the party and her mom asks her to take David with her. The guest goes to shower and the girl runs into him in the doorway. This makes a strong impression on her. She then gives David a ride in her car and asks him not to tell her parents about her relationship with Zeke. The parents are strongly against her spending time with the guy. The guest agrees without problems, and afterwards helps the hostess of the party, Kristen, to carry beer kegs. He continues to have fun together with the young people, earning everyone's respect. Later, Kristen's ex-boyfriend appears among the guests. The girl isn't happy to see him.
I'm talking to my friend. You're being rude.
All right, listen, just...
The rude guy grabs her arm and drags her after him. David stands up for the girl and knocks him out with a shove against the wall. The bully's friends stay out of harm's way and carry the guy home. Kristen is impressed and takes her savior to her room. There, they spend some quality time alone. Afterward, David meets a guy named Craig, who deals in all sorts of illegal stuff. The man doesn't seem to take a liking to the big mouth, but asks him to get him a gun. He evades answering why exactly he would need one. David then sees Zeke having an argument with Anna. The girl walks away upset and the soldier follows her. He doesn't let her drive because she's a little drunk. The girl is saving up money for university while her boyfriend is running an illegal business and wasting his life for nothing. David disapproves of Zeke and says that he doesn't appreciate Anna. If he had a girlfriend like her, he wouldn't have gone to fight in the Middle East. Anna gets shy and thanks him for the compliment. The guest also asks for a copy of the music CD the girl has in her car. It's a collection of her favorite songs. They get home safely and go to their rooms. Anna immediately gets down to business and fulfills David's request. The man is awake again and simply sits on the bed, staring at the same spot. The next day, Anna hears David talking to someone on the phone. He says that he needs a new face and fingerprints, and this scares the girl. She runs back to her room and makes a call to the U.S. Army Information Office. Anna wants to make inquiries about David and asks to see if he had really served with her brother. The operator on the other end of the line promises to verify his identity. The information turns out to be classified. However, an instruction to contact the mysterious KPG Corporation appears on the screen. When they hear about David, they immediately raise the alarm.
Tell Fort Kenilworth that David Collins is dead. Just give them the official version. We'll take it from here.
Major Richard Carver is speaking to the board of directors about the closure of a secret project. He's informed that Anna Peterson is asking about David. He recognizes Caleb's last name, with whom he also once worked. The major orders to prepare a private jet and bring in a SWAT team immediately. No one must know that the results of their experiments is on the loose. In the meantime, David arrives to meet Craig and his acquaintance, an arms dealer. He has enough money so that no one asks any unnecessary questions. The dealer shows several guns and David professionally takes them apart to inspect their condition. He's satisfied with everything and declares that he's taking away all the weapons. But the man wasn't planning to buy it in the first place, and instead is simply going to kill the dealer. The latter pulls out a revolver, but David disarms his opponent with a quick movement and kills him. There aren't enough bullets left in the cylinder for Craig. The guy runs away, but David reloads the gun and kills Craig with a shot in the back. He takes the whole arsenal, including an assault rifle and grenades. Meanwhile, Anna receives a call from the military informing her that the man living in her house is not the real David Collins. She immediately goes to her parents to pass on the information, but gets interrupted. Spencer has just gotten home from work and immediately goes for a drink. His boss and his girlfriend were found dead. They had both taken expired pills. However, the police also discovered bruises on their bodies, and they doubt that the two took their own lives. But there is good news as well. Spencer will now take over as the boss and make considerably more money. Suddenly, David walks through the door with a huge backpack and goes to his room to change. Anna is still thinking about how to tell the disturbing news to her parents. She's distracted by a call from Zeke, who informs her of Craig's death. He asks her to meet him and the girl agrees. She wants to tell him about David, but Zeke is pulled over by a police car, so he hangs up. Anna decides to go to the cafe where she and Kristen work. They are very upset about Craig, but Anna is more concerned about David. She's informed that there was a fire at the military hospital recently.
A fire from oxygen tanks. About 20 people died. David Collins was one of them.
The guest has never shown his ID and doesn't carry a wallet. Kristen suggests getting into David's cell phone to get a better idea of what's going on. Anna likes the idea and asks our friend to call her after work. While the parents are away to get groceries, David stays with Luke. They carve pumpkins for Halloween together. The man pulls out his army knife and the boy is surprised that the guy always has a cold weapon in his pocket. Afterward, he advises Luke to carry a knife for self-defense too. If it's taken away, he can set fire to the offender's houses at night. Although the guy is frightened by his words, he still likes this advice more than doing nothing and getting beaten up. David compliments the guy and gives him his knife. That's when Anna returns and sneakily steals David's cell phone from his jacket. She takes pictures of the numbers he made calls to, as suddenly, the phone starts ringing. The girl hurriedly throws the cell phone into the guest's room, and David finds it there. Now he clearly suspects something. Afterward, Anna receives a call from Zeke. The guy is arrested because they found the gun that was used to kill Craig in his car. Someone anonymously reported him to the police. A search of Zeke's house also ended with him facing some more charges. Anna realizes she has fewer and fewer allies, and that David is clearly involved in the crimes. She's shaking with fear and goes to her parents to break the sad news about Craig and Zeke. Spencer isn't surprised to hear that Zeke has been arrested. What disappoints him is the news that Anna continued to date the boy despite her father's objection. They begin to argue loudly, and Anna points a finger at David.
Everybody's best friend. Called the military base that he said he was from and they told me he was dead.
All this time, the guest is holding a huge kitchen knife. He replies that Anna would make an excellent spy. The girl continues to insist that he show them his documents. The man replies that he served in the special forces, and this explains the story about his supposed death. David places his dog tags on the table. Spencer checks them and says that such evidence is enough for him. Everyone sides with the guest, demanding that Anna apologize. She's furious, tells everyone to go to hell, and retreats to her room. There, David visits her and offers his condolences about Craig. He's upset that his presence is causing tensions in the Peterson household and promises to leave in a couple of days. Anna still doesn't trust him, but plays along. Before leaving, David notices a CD she made for him and takes it to listen to. The next day, Anna drops her younger brother off at school and tells him about her investigation. She's checked the number David called. It turned out to be a former plastic surgeon from Miami. The girl wants to prove Zeke's innocence and asks Luke to help her gather more information about the guest. At school, the guy gets on the internet to find out more about this doctor. That's when he gets harassed by a classmate again. He pokes him in the back with a sharpened pencil, at which Luke turns around and immediately punches him in the nose. They continue fighting, but the quiet boy hits harder and harder and eventually breaks a stick on his opponent's head. Afterwards, the boy's parents are called to the school. Laura arrives together with David. They ask the boy about what happened and proceed to the principal's office. Luke is threatened with expulsion, but David skillfully spins the situation to get it brushed under the rug. He threatens the school with lawyers and journalists, and the principal has to replace the punishment with extracurricular activities. Luke is grateful for his help, but asks David to talk in private. He reveals that Anna suspects him of Craig's murder, and is gathering information about the surgeon in Miami. Luke realizes that David isn't who he says he is, but he doesn't care because the man has done a lot for his family. The boy guesses that the murder of his father's boss was David's doing as well. He promises to keep everything a secret, and says that nobody will believe his sister. The guest asks who else Anna might have told about him. Luke mentions Kristen. Later, David helps Laura hang laundry in the backyard. The woman is still very fond of him. The man steps away, and at the last moment, Carver and the SWAT team arrive at the house. They ask Laura about the guest, at which point David appears outside with a gun in his hand. He kills 2 men with precise shots, then jumps into the house through a window. The soldiers fire a barrage of bullets and wound the fugitive in the leg. Carver tries to protect Laura, but she breaks free and runs into the house. David quickly applies a bandage and pulls out an assault rifle. The assault team enters the building, but the criminal hides and kills them one by one. He crawls across the carpet, hiding from heavy machine gun fire, and meets Laura in the kitchen. She tries to call someone, but David snatches the phone out of her hands.
Who are those men?
I really am sorry about this, Mrs. Peterson. I'm afraid I haven't been fully honest with you.
The guest doesn't have time to explain what's going on. The scales finally fall from the woman's eyes. She asks if David knew her son. With a fake smile, the man confirms his words. They were in the same secret program, and Caleb would definitely approve of everything he did. Laura yells to the military that David is here and gets stabbed with a kitchen knife for this. The woman dies, and the guy makes it to the garage and drives off in her car. Before doing so, he tactically shoots the tires of Carver's Jeep. The Major gets behind the wheel anyway and continues the pursuit. On the road, David spots Spencer's car and crashes into it head-on. He gets out of the car and kills the man, saying that he is sorry. Afterward, he heads into a field with his backpack. Carver drives to the scene of the accident with a flat tire and takes a car from an eyewitness. The Major reaches Anna's cafe and takes her away with him. Kristen is left alone on the shift and David arrives at the building in a stolen car. There's a bloody mark on the windshield from the previous owner. The soldier goes inside and asks the girl about Anna. When Kristen tries to hide where she's gone, David kills her. Afterward, he throws 2 grenades on the floor to get rid of the witnesses. The visitors don't have time to run out before the explosion. Carver and Anna are already on their way to get Luke, so David doesn't get to him first. It turns out that the soldier is part of a secret military experiment. He's killed several people and escaped by setting a fire in a hospital. According to reports, he was an exemplary soldier, but turned out to be mentally unstable. They try to call Luke, but his phone has been confiscated during his extracurricular activities. The guy's helping set up the Halloween decorations. Meanwhile, a bunch of police cars whiz past Carver's car. Anna is worried, and the Major uncovers David's string of crimes. The girl learns of the death of both her parents and can't believe it.
David has neurological conditioning as Peterson, designed to protect both him and the experiment.
The point of the experiment was to manipulate the psyche, and now David's first priority is to eliminate anyone who blows his cover. He can't stop, even if he wants to. Anna is devastated by grief, but now she must save Luke's life. They arrive at the school and enter a hall with a scary maze. This is clearly not a good time for spooky traps. The teacher hears the guests and helps them find Luke. Luckily, the kid is fine. Suddenly, the lights in the room go out, and the music Anna had put on the disc comes on. David is nearby. The teacher leads everyone through the maze, but after turning a corner, meets the soldier and dies from a stab with a box cutter. Carver commands the teenagers to look for another way out, while he himself stays behind for a duel with David. The soldier finds the Major first and stabs him in the side. Carver dies on the floor of the mirror room. Meanwhile, Anna and Luke find an exit, but it's locked with chains. Luke tries to convince his sister that David won't hurt them. Anna doesn't have time for explanations and pulls her brother back into the maze. She demands that the boy hide, but Luke continues to resist. At this point, she has no other choice but to tell him that their parents are dead at David's hands. She wants to lead the murderer away and find help. Luke hides, grabbing the army knife that was gifted to him. Soon he spots David searching around the maze with the face of a maniac.
Sorry about this, guys. I tried to think of another way to do it.
The soldier hears a noise and discovers that the dead Major's weapon is missing. He follows the bloody trail and falls into Anna's trap. The girl has left her shoes as a distraction and comes out with Carver's gun in hand. She accuses David of killing her parents and shoots him in the chest. The man falls to the floor covered in artificial smoke. The girl searches for the corpse, but David turns out to still be alive. He stabs Anna in the leg, dropping her to the floor. As she falls, she pulls the trigger, and a bullet shatters a lamp, starting a fire. David tries to strangle the girl, and she starts passing out. This is when Luke leaps up from behind and stabs his knife into the killer's back. The soldier lets Anna go, and she desperately gulps for air. David still refuses to die, and Luke plunges the blade into his heart. With his last breath, the man praises Luke for his courage and gives him a thumbs up. The product of the dangerous experiment leaves this world next to a decorative Halloween cemetery. Anna and Luke leave, and soon firefighters and paramedics arrive. Still in shock, the teens sit hugging each other in the ambulance. They hear they found 2 bodies inside that were badly burned. Both are missing teeth for some reason, making it difficult to identify them. A couple firefighters come out of the school, and Anna notices a pair of familiar eyes under the mask. In most of the close-ups, actor Dan Stevens, who played the lead role, doesn't blink. This is done to emphasize David's weirdness and unnaturalness. When Stevens was auditioning for the role, he was found to be too thin. Before that, he had lost 30 pounds for his previous movie. Steven resembled Christian Bale from the movie The Machinist, while David was supposed to have a really powerful soldier's physique. But the directors really liked him, so the actor promised that he would train like crazy and gain weight in record time. He worked out daily for 2 hours a day and did it right throughout the shooting. As a result, in 3 months, he managed to gain 25 pounds of muscle for the shirtless scene. It was shot in the last week of filming so that Stevens had as much time as possible to bulk up. As a result, you can see that David's body looks different from scene to scene. The earlier it was filmed, the lower his weight was. As always, look for the name of the movie in the description of the video. In the meantime, let us know in the comments. Do you believe that a person can be programmed to behave in a certain way? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like, so that more awesome stories come out as often as possible.